Name that bass line.
Name that bass line.
Name that bass line, or suffer the consequences.
Come on in, bass lovers! It's the 9th installment of the only YouTube game show that asks you to name that bass line. I'm your host, and no, this was not a free haircut from the Phil Spector Barber School. Cute, isn't he? We have a very special episode on tap today. If you recall, in the last show, I put out an open invitation to you, the fans, to send in videos of you playing your favorite bass lines. And the response was actually not pathetic. Clips came in from all over the globe. So today's show will be made up entirely of YouTube bass players, which means, unfortunately, that I won't be playing any bass for you. Fine, I'll play all the bass lines then. I hate everybody. We'll get to your viewer submissions shortly, and of course our regular guest bassists, Troy, David, and Thomas are here as well. I'm a little annoyed about something. Mind if I vent? Response to Name That Bass Line has been fantastic. But the problem is, inevitably, when you come up with an original idea, there are always copycats out there who want to try to capitalize on that success. It seems like every day a new Name That Something show is cropping up on YouTube. For example, a few weeks ago I saw a new one called Name That Canadian. Tasteless. That's just the tip of the iceberg. Yesterday I caught wind of yet another knockoff, and this one was the most reprehensible of all. A program called Name That Cow Pie, a show in which the host presents a fresh steaming pile of mystery dung, and viewers have to guess what animal it originated from. Can we sink any lower? So I just want to go on record and say that this is the only officially licensed Name That show on YouTube. Just so you're aware of what to watch out for, my staff has compiled a complete list of these questionable amateur productions trying to tarnish the Name That Bass Line franchise. Could we roll that list, please? I promise you we are not affiliated with any of these shysters. Rest assured, these people will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. I beg you, do not be fooled by any of these cheap rip-offs. With that out of the way, it's time once again for my weekly self-humiliating apology segment, which I call Name That Bass Blunder. No one mentioned any glaring musical errors last time. However, I did receive a comment regarding my bass sound in episode 8 from a viewer in Mexico named Jermatrix, who asked, "What's with all that fret buzz?" Frowning emoticon. Thank you for your concern, Jermatrix. Just so you know, I set the action on my basses towards the medium-low side, so there is some occasional buzzing. And of course, it's much more noticeable in this context because you're hearing the bass naked by itself. No drums or guitars to hide behind. But the bass is set up pretty much the way I like it, which is...
I raised the action on your bass.
What? You raised the action on my bass? No. Leave the bass as I set it. That's my bass. I'm setting it the way I wish it.
Well, I didn't want to.
I'm not speaking to you. I am speaking... I'm interested in how it sounds here. It sounds the way I wish it to sound, and the way it's going to sound if I am playing. I am... If it winds up on the internet, that's the way Fluffy Wagglekins plays it. You understand?
I understand.
Okay.
They're trying to...
I've been living for 6 months with it.
I know that.
Okay, well then realize it.
But this is gonna be here after we're all dead and gone, all right? It ain't you and me, it's everybody.
I ain't dying. Let's just move on. Shit. Are you settled in? Do you have a snack ready? Who's ready to play? If you don't know how the game works, you're going to hear pieces of 10 signature bass lines from 10 different artists. See if you can guess what they are. If you're really stumped, I'll give some clues along the way, and we'll have the answers at the end of the video, along with the names of the bassists who played on the original tracks. Great. Our first viewer-submitted bass line came in from Andrew Nye of Cary, North Carolina. His YouTube channel goes by the name Andrew OID95. If you're wondering whether it rocks or not, the answer is a big yes. Here's Andrew with bass line number 1.
Name that bass line.
Thanks, Andrew. Our next guest player is Eric Vogtman, and he sent this bass line in all the way from Cordoba, Argentina. I looked it up on a map, and it's far. I might just have to use this one as my personal theme song. Here's Eric with bass line number 2. Thank you, Eric. Next up is Brian Markalonis, who has his own YouTube channel called Learn to Bass. How'd you think that one up? This one really cooks. Here's Brian with bass line number 3.
Name that bass line.
Awesome, Brian. Normally we'd have a Beatles bass line in our number 4 spot, but unfortunately no one sent one in. I'd play one myself, but my neck just got better. So we're going to skip it this time around. Instead, our next viewer submission is Ron Hall out of Denver, Colorado. Ron has a channel called Tin Man 3012. Ron's song was a top 20 hit all the way back in the 60s, so it might be a tough one for you young'uns, but it's still fun to listen to anyway. Here's Ron with bass line number 4. Okay, let's keep moving right along. Next up is Ross from Florida, and he calls his channel Taco Man Super Funky. If you've ever left a taco out in the hot sun for a couple of days, I think you know just how funky that could be. Ross tells me he's a super big fan of the show, and I'm happy to have him on board, as long as it doesn't end with me having to file a restraining order. With bass line number 5, here's Ross, aka Taco Man Super Funky. Good stuff, Ross. This next video comes to us from Rachel, also known as RL Cell 1992. Rachel's channel is very popular on YouTube, so be sure and check it out soon. Here's bass line number 6.
Name that bass line.
Great job, Rachel. Our final clip comes to us from a well-known funkster all the way in the south of Germany. He currently has over 1,600 subscribers and a nice arsenal of both guitar and bass covers. And the coolest part of all, he's got an umlaut in his name, just like Spinal Tap. Got me thinking maybe I should put some umlauts in the title of this show. You know, like NameThatBassLine. Anyway, with bass line number 7, here's Lewis Miller, aka Lou Bass 09.
Name the bass line.
A big thanks to everyone who took the time to send in a video clip. You guys rock. As always, we're going to close out the show with our tough but lovable guest bassists. First up is the mighty Troy Hughes, aka TGH 3113. Today he's covering one of my favorite bassists, and I hope it's one of yours. With bass line number 8, here's Troy Hughes. Ah yes, good stuff. By the way, Troy personally knitted all those masks behind him. In the number 9 spot is our old friend David Caraccio, or David Sin Rocks. Today he's got a funky little 80s R&B ditty for us. Here's David with bass line number 9.
Name that bass line.
Makes me want to get up out of my chair and boogie. Closing out the show today is the guru of groove, Mr. Thomas Rizell, known around YouTube, of course, as Marlo DK. This 70s classic was co-written by Sly Stone, so you know it's going to be funky. Here's Thomas Rizell with bass line number 10.
Name That Bassline.
Ah, so funky, so fresh. That's going to wrap up the 9th edition of Name That Bassline. Don't forget to stop by our page on Facebook, where you can hobnob with me as well as other fans of the show. You can also send your comments and suggestions to NameThatBassline@AOL.com. We'll be back on Thursday, August 2nd with our season finale, and it's going to be a biggie. Thanks to all 7 of our YouTube players for their awesome videos. And as always, thanks to Troy, David, and Thomas for helping me out today. Be sure and subscribe to their awesome channels. Oh, and be sure and subscribe to my channel if you want to know when the season finale is uploaded. Tell your friends, too. Stay tuned for the answers to today's basslines. Thanks. Until next time, hold down the bottom for me. Hey, you want to buy a bonus bassline? I got one real cheap. Check it out.